never ever truly flourish if it stifles the potential of its women and deprive itself of half the contribution of the citizens. It is in recognition of these core principles and facts that we have given birth to inspire lessons from the Legal La Maison series. This indeed will be a series of live interviews we plan to have periodically. It will showcase some of the finest and brilliant female legal practitioners who have actually distinguished themselves in the legal profession, who have braved the odds and made history. The journey of the female practitioner, as we all know, to gain recognition and relevance in our profession and in many other professions has always been laden with twists, turns and at times uncertainties, where we're all struggling to be relevant and to go through, for us to continue to be relevant. But I'm quite sure that we will all benefit from the lessons we will learn today, where the lifetimes and stories of experienced legal practitioners that we have today will help us. And I believe that by doing this, at least, if nothing, you will get a role model who would inspire you and some characters that would help us to be a better lawyer. Particularly, I would use an example. I've been greatly inspired by the Legal La Maison today, Mrs. Ira Balogun, OON. She's truly an embodiment of grace and humility, with sharp wit combined with an excellent knowledge of the law. I'd like to quickly tell you a story of how I met Mrs. Balogun. Some of you might know that my core area of expertise is in international arbitration. I'm a chartered arbitrator, and in my bid to continue to promote arbitration in Africa, I've consistently tried to put myself forward whenever I have opportunity to serve at various arbitration institutions, one of which is the Chartered Institute of Arbitration, UK Nigeria branch. And that's where I was fortunate to have met Mrs. Ira Balogun. She's a fellow of that institute. And to my knowledge, Mrs. Balogun has never missed a general meeting since I joined. But what is most remarkable about her is her humility. Mrs. Balogun would never make a fuss when she entered. She would sit at the back. I can even sort of remember like the back of the room, the left-hand side. And you would think that she's not really interested in the deliberations. But I quickly came to realize that her sitting at the back was actually a vantage position where she could watch us younger ones with her hawk-like precision. And I discovered her attention to detail. I can remember one day, I was the secretary of the branch, and guess what? I made a mistake. Mrs. Balogun was the only one that actually saw that mistake was in the procedure that had followed. And she immediately pointed it out to everyone. I was upset, but I shouldn't have been. But I recognized later that her criticism was actually what gave me was a teaching opportunity for her to actually impact her excellence in a young female professional that I was years ago. And she proved me wrong. After the meeting, guess what Mrs. Balogun did? She called me and invited me to her office and had a conversation with me. And this was truly an inspirational session. And she has consistently checked in on me ever since. I can remember once or twice we've even gone on a boat ride where we went on lunch. My first time where I'd ever seen anything like that in Lagos with Mrs. Oyekun and a few others. That is Mrs. Balogun for you. Imagine if we had such a woman as our leader today, a light venture, a woman of many firsts, the first attorney general that we ever had in the country, the first female body of venture. She has so many. I won't take the role of the anchor who will be giving you details of this woman of inspiration. Ladies and gentlemen, you can imagine if Mrs. Balogun is actually the leader. It is not a figment of my imagination. It is the real living example of what is possible. I hereby introduce to you our legal icon in a series of other maiden. This is our maiden series, but we plan to have a lot more, and this will be periodical. But I can go on and on and on about our Legal La Maison, but time will not permit me, ladies and gentlemen. I therefore would like to call on our chief host of this event, Professor Oluyemisi Bamgbose, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Prof. Bamgbose is another example of an exceptional female lawyer who has actually also changed the status quo by being the first, and currently, as far as I know, the only professor of law in Nigeria who has been conferred with the title and rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Professor Bangbose is a professor of criminal law and criminology and a fellow of Salzburg Seminar. She has held so many positions. She's been invited to be on so many committees that are too numerous to mention here. I will put her bio in the chat box. She was the Dean of Faculty, but most importantly, for today, Professor Oluyemisi Bangbose is the chair of the Nigerian Bar Women's Forum. She's a good manager of women. You can imagine it's a women's forum. And if she's been able to manage all of us, kudos to her. I hereby hand over to Mrs. Bangbose to give a welcome address. And I hope you will all enjoy our session today and be inspired that you can do it. We all can. If Mrs. Arabalogun could do it, we can do it. If she did it in the 60s, we can. Thank you all for listening. Over to you, Professor Mrs. Yemisi Bangbose. Thank you very much. Mrs. Bangbose. Prof. I'm aware she's just landed from Abuja and she's looking for somewhere to log into. I'll just check on her. Prof, can you hear us? And whilst we're trying to get Prof on, can I please call on Mrs. Ayo Ponle to actually introduce the anchors for today? Prof, can you hear us? I think we have a technical itch right now. Ayo, please, could you please read the bio of our anchors? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Valley. Thank you, everyone, and good morning, fellow colleagues and seniors. Good morning, our legal Amazon. May I quickly introduce the anchors of the conversation today? And the full bios will be in the chat section after reading their brief bios today. My name is Adepo Ayo. I am the coordinator of the Advocacy Committee of the NGO Women Forum. I'll be starting with a brief bio of Mrs. Boma Ayomide Alabi. She is a senior advocate of Nigeria and a holder of the National Honor of OON. Mrs. Alabi is the founding partner at Primera African Legal, a leading law firm in Lagos. The United States heads the firm's international commercial law and corporate governance practice division. Mrs. Alabi served as the president of the Commonwealth Lawyers Association between 2011 and 2013. She happens to be the first woman president in the over 50 years history of that association of lawyers from over 54 African 54 countries. She was also a council member of the board of the Royal Commonwealth Society and also served as the chairwoman of the Association of Women Solicitors of England and Wales between the years 2005 and 2006. Mrs. Alabi served on the advisory board of MN Capital Africa Advisors, and she is a council member of the Nigerian Bar Association section on legal practice, that is NGA SLC. Thank you, Leonard. You're welcome on board to anchor our Inspire series. Our second anchor is Mrs. Shola Soyele. Shola Soyele is an award-winning journalist and a lawyer. Her exploits in both professions has made her a bona fide champion of women and human rights activist. Shola is a more sought-after speaker at legal events. I'm quite sure we all know Shola, familiar with.
Can you hear me?
Channel TV. That is the host of this. That's the host of this event.
Maybe she.
Can
you hear me?
Not such a young lawyer, but relatively in that class of lawyers. She is our Sani Isa. She's joining us from.
Can you hear me?
From the ancient city of Kano.
Maybe you should chat with them.
Yeah. Hello,
Raise
Prof.
your
Hello,
hand.
Prof. Our Kanisha is joining us from the state
They can hear you now.
of
Can you hear
Kano.
me?
She is a legal practitioner with police of in Kano. She's a humanitarian activist practice from that city. Her wife is one of the advocates for the passing of anti-torture bill under Amnesty International. She is the co-host of a TV show called CRC in Kano. I'm quite sure we are all looking forward to hearing the story of our legal Amazon, Mrs. Ira Adebalogun, OON. Without much ado, I would be handing back over to the chairperson of the NBA Women Forum in order for her to give her welcome address. Thank you all. Prof. Hello, Prof. I don't think Prof is in yet. In the light of this, may I quickly hand the session over to Mrs. Boma Alabi, the lead anchor for today, to go on with the vow of allegiance.
Thank you very much. It's my singular honor and privilege this morning to introduce. Can you hear me? Yes, you can. Good.
Can you hear me?
Prof, we can. Prof, do you want to now proceed with your welcome?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Prof. Do you want to proceed with your welcome remarks? Now we can hear you, and then I can introduce.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Take it from there. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the matriarch of the bar, Chief Folake Solanke, SAN, OON, our revered legal Amazons and guests at this seminar, learned senior advocates of Nigeria, seniors in the legal profession, female lawyers from all over the globe. Once again, I want to apologize. We just landed in Abuja and I have to deliver this welcome address right here in the plane. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to this webinar titled Inspire Lessons from the Legal Amazon, organized by the MBAWF and coordinated by the Advocacy Committee, which is one of the 9 committees of the MBAWF. The MBAWF is an arm of the MBA, bringing together all female lawyers in Nigeria with the aim of empowering female lawyers for success. At the forum, we empower female lawyers by helping them reach new heights through mentorship programs, sharing information, grooming them for leadership positions through state-by-state mentorship programs, and as senior lawyers and young lawyers network and we support each other. We had a mentorship program in Port Harcourt, Ibadan, and Uyo, and we are moving on to other states. There is an MOU that the forum signed with the New York State Bar Association Women in Law section in 2020. And the MOU affords female lawyers a global outlook through internship, training, workshop, knowledge exchange, publications, networking, blog engagement with other members of the forum and female lawyers all over Nigeria. At the forum, female lawyers' voices are heard and rights defended. Diverse skills are developed. There are huge opportunities for career growth. There is access to data on female lawyers in Nigeria and support against discrimination, abuse, and harassment. I'm happy to inform all participants that the MBAWF has commenced the drafting of the sexual harassment policy. And it is believed that after so many years, the MBA will finally have a sexual harassment policy, thereby providing and creating a safe, healthy, respectful, and comfortable work environment, therefore reducing physical and emotional harm to many of our female lawyers. The draft policy has reached an advanced stage, and we will have a webinar to disseminate the information and ask for comments. MBAWF and of course MBA has zero tolerance for sexual harassment. It is 100% unacceptable. William Shakespeare, in his book titled Twelfth Night, said, "Some are born great, some achieve greatness, some have greatness thrust upon them. It is not all persons that are born great. However, it is possible for a person to achieve greatness, taking so many factors into consideration. One of such is getting inspired, taking lessons from those who are great, living legends, icons, and pioneers in a given field or area." Ladies and gentlemen, the matriarch of the bar, today we are privileged to have an Amazon as a guest speaker and inspirer. She's here to share with us some life lessons spanning over 8 decades. There is not an iota of doubt that she was born great and has achieved greatness. An Amazon is strong, not only in terms of physical size, but the fact that she towers above all. An Amazon is strong, not only in terms of physical strength, but inner strength. Noble, extremely heroic, very active, spirited, courageous, and brave. Amazons tread where others failed. How else will you describe a person called to the English bar as far back as 1963 at the age of 21, the first female Attorney General of Lagos State, first Secretary General of the MBA, first female chairperson, body of benchers in Nigeria, and officer of the Order of the Niger. Author House, the publisher of a book, To Serve in Truth and Justice, says, "Our life has been a life of service, driven by truth and a commitment to justice." Justice, service, truth, 3 words. Adherence to one of these 3 words can define someone as a person of integrity and honor. And when all 3 are found in one person, they set that person apart as an icon, yardstick for our peers, and a model for the generation following after. She says of herself, "I'm completely fulfilled." She has inspired many great men and women. I implore us to relax and draw lessons from a legal Amazon in the person of Mrs. Irat Ade Balogun, OON, a remarkable influencer who embodies the decorum required in the legal profession. Thank you very much. Enjoy this webinar. God bless you.
Thank you, Prof. Now it's my singular honor and privilege to introduce properly our inspiring Amazon of today, Mrs. Hirat Balogun, OON, life bencher, and member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitration, United Kingdom. Hirat Ade Balogun is the founder and currently the senior partner in Liberal Law Office of Ikoyi, Lagos, with co-partners Osahon Idemudia, Afolabi Balogun, Victor Obaro, and Temitayo Opajobi. She's qualified as a barrister at law in England in 1963, Lincoln's Inn, and attended the Nigerian Law School at Iboshire from April to July 1963, and was also enrolled as a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria in July 1963. Mrs. Balogun is a legal practitioner, of course, a notary public, a life bencher, and as we know, a recipient of the national honor of the Officer of the Order of Niger. This happened in 2008 for services to the legal profession. Mrs. Balogun specializes in commercial law, litigation, and arbitration. And the Liberal Law Office has an active arbitration desk. She's a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitration, United Kingdom, and the Nigerian branch of that, of which she's a pioneer member. She's acted in council and as a sole or joint arbitrator for over 25 years. Mrs. Balogun is a former General Secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association, the first female, by the way, and remains the only female, well, to date. When we say to date, we currently have a female GS, but this is since 1981 to date. Mrs. Balogun is a life member of FIDA, life member of the International Women's Society. She's a former part-time lecturer examiner at the Nigerian Law School on ethics and law office management. Mrs. Harriet Balogun is a former Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice of Lagos State, and I believe to date the only female Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice of Lagos State. She's a former chairman of the Body of Benchers, I believe also the first female. She's a former council member of the International Bar Association and a foundation member of the IBA Human Rights Institute. Mrs. Balogun was an assessor to the Disciplinary Tribunal of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria for 10 years. From 1999 to 2001, Mrs. Balogun was the United Nations observer for the OAU, now AU, and the non-aligned movement countries at the Lockerbie trial in the Scottish court in the Netherlands, which sat in Campsis, Netherlands, and thereafter with the appeal sittings in Edinburgh in Scotland. She's a member and a past president of the Rotary Club of Lagos, a Paul Harris Fellow, and major donor. Mrs. Balogun is widely traveled, at home and abroad, having been to all the states in Nigeria and Abuja, and to several foreign countries for pleasure and to attend conferences connected to the legal profession or Rotary. Her interests are appreciation of the arts, music, jazz, high life and classical, reading and swimming. Mrs. Balogun is an author. She's authored 2 books, Women in the Law and To Serve in Truth and Justice, her memoirs. She's delivered several papers at conferences of the Nigerian Bar Association and the IBA and other organizations on specialized and other topics. Mrs. Balogun is a stickler for family values and punctuality on all occasions and is permanently averse to rudeness and laziness. I present Mrs. Balogun, our inspiring Amazon, to us all. It is indeed a privilege to do so. Mrs. Balogun, welcome.
Welcome, ma.
I'm going to kick off right away as one of the anchors with the questions, and then Shola and my other co-anchor will follow immediately thereafter. So I'm starting with your early life, Mrs. Balogun. It's really an honor to be interviewing a legal icon like you. Your name resounds both within and outside the legal profession. You have distinguished yourself as one of the foremost female practitioners in Nigeria to the admiration of all of us. We are very eager to know a lot more about you. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, and educational background pre-entry into the profession? Thank you.
Good morning, all. In particular, good morning to our leader, Chief Folake Solanke, SAN. We must pay homage to our seniors. They are like our parents. And if you don't start with the homage to your parents, you know what that means. It's a person without a background. But putting that aside, I must really thank Folashade as well as Boban for the extensive introduction. I suppose I can just say to myself, you asked for it. Because if I had sat down quietly in my corner after becoming a lawyer and just did nothing, had babies, it's an achievement to have children and they're successful. It's also an achievement. Then today may not have been, but it just shows that morning follows the day. I decided to be a lawyer mostly because I wanted to offer service. My main intention was service and also to dignify whatever profession I chose. It happened to be the legal profession. It was an accident. I had been away for about 6 years studying abroad, my secondary education. I'll come back to that later. And came home for the holidays, visited a court in Yaba, and I saw the way lawyers were disposing of cases, just like that. Maybe there were small cases, but cases nevertheless, making people anxious. They were getting judgment immediately. So even if the people were found guilty, hand down the judgment, go and pay fine and so on. Or it's a landlord and tenant, leave that house in a month's time and so on. So I said, oh, this would be a nice profession to be in. You can help people and you see the results immediately. How do we do this? Before that, my parents, or rather my grandmother who brought me up, had tried to encourage me to be a lawyer, a teacher. She even promised she would build me a school and so on and so forth, but that wasn't to be. Now to background education. I was one of 30 children at the first count. My father was a produce buyer, very prosperous trader, I would call him, in Lagos here. And my mother was a baker and confectioner. But they did not really have too much influence on my youth, my growing up, because at the age of 10 days, I was born here in Lagos, in Idumagbo, in a nursing home in Idumagbo. And my grandmother just looked at my mother and said, you are too young. You can have so many more children. I am taking this one. I'm taking her back to Ijebu with me. She's going to live with me. And that's how I became a grandmother's child. And I tell you, I was spoiled to bits. But that did not stop the spirit in me to also be somebody. I was spoiled, but I still wanted to accept myself. And that's how it happened. At the age of 12 years, I was sent abroad to do my secondary education. After that, studied law studies. Then I came back to Nigeria. The only thing to do was to practice. Of course, we had to go to the law school for 3 months. I think I was in the second set of the law school intake. We did our 3 months, and in those days, they just measure your success by how well you do in the exams. There is no first class, second class, or pass class, or anything. And if you did well, they were interested in getting you fixed into a job. And they asked me what I wanted to do. They would get me a job in the Ministry of Justice, and I said, no, I would like to practice. And there was only one opening for a practitioner with a foreign firm. So they offered it to an older lady, and late Mrs. Faraday. The firm was Irving and Bonner. That's another story for later. So she went there, and I found myself working all over Lagos, through the Broad Streets, and I saw nameplates of lawyers. And the one that attracted me most was a brass plate of CEO Ogunbanjo. So I went in and I said, oh, I'd like to see the owner of this firm. And I spoke to him and I said, I would like to come and work with him. And he said, okay. And that's how the association started. Later on, I got to know that he was a younger brother to my mother's very, very good friend. So everything just went off like a swing. So I think that's what I can refer to as early growing up. And of course, when I came out of law school, and I started working with Ogunbanjo, he told me right away that he was going into commercial practice, that he wasn't going to do so much court work anymore. I was a little bit disappointed, but he said, oh, I have some 2 or 3 lawyers who come and do my trial matters, court cases. You just hold on to them. Anytime they're going to court, go with them, get your experience that way, and then you are made. So that's how I got the practical aspect worked out. Before that, I think one should always have an admiration for whatever you decide to do. Because it's only that will make you rise up in that particular field. You must be totally committed and admirable of your profession. Also, I have to admit that whatever confidence I have or feel or have obtained has been a gift from the legal profession. That confidence is really what keeps you going. It's what keeps you wanting to achieve. You feel that nobody can stop you. In fact, when I first came, very small, you say, oh, I'm sure, Boma, you heard that too, because I met you when you first came, and I was trying to tell you, Nigeria is different from UK, but I think you found out and you survived. Yes. So, oh yes, you have. So this was what happened. And what I'm trying to get at is that you must build up your integrity. When you build up integrity for yourself, people know you are serious, they take you like that. But if you make yourself flippant, or you're not sure of yourself, you're dithering or something, they will take advantage of you. Why not? Why not? Everybody is ready to take advantage of the sucker. So, but as I said at the beginning, my aim was to serve and also dignify my profession. So service, of course, you say, don't you get paid for all the cases and so on? Yes, I was getting paid, but not too much, very little, but it was just enough. And you'd be amazed. I used to quarrel with my senior, about my monthly salary. I'll say, oh, this money is too small. He'll say, go to the ministry and find out how much they're earning. I'll tell him, he'll say, it doesn't matter, this is private practice, Well, I was learning a lot and driving all over the place, Lagos to Ibadan, Lagos to Abeokuta, Ijebu-Ode, for all the cases. So now when I can't do this, I just laugh. The same thing when I got married a few months before I returned to Nigeria, but I didn't start a family till the following year. When the children were old enough to go to school, I had to bring them on board. Nobody took my children to school except me. I dropped them, I picked them up, take them home, back to work, finish the day, back home. That was the schedule because I wanted to be sure it was child to mother, mother to child. Nobody, of course, we had house help at that time, reliable ones, you know, can have an elderly person and so on. So all these things help to enhance service delivery, let me call it that. I never for one moment wanted to be a judge. I never for one moment wanted to be a magistrate. I was asked 2 or 3 times, but I said no, it will restrict my idea of service. So, but here we are today. I'm afraid I feel like a roller coaster. I can't stop unless somebody switches off the engine. You know, even some people look at me and say, no, it's not possible. You're going to work. I said, I'm going to work. What do you want me to do? Do you have something else for me to do? I'll do it. But I'm going to work now. So I think these are the things you think about and put yourself to work. In fact, a lot of people thought I was very proud and snooty, and I don't talk to them or something. And I've challenged them and said, yes, I have a lot to be proud of. I prayed that I could do this, and I'm doing it, and I'm still doing it. So why shouldn't I be proud? Go and do your own, no problem, you know. And today is making me feel very happy because in 2009, I did a study of women lawyers and where they are, where they should be, what they could be doing. We took it through the states, went to Kaduna, went to Asapa, all over, just to get all the lawyers to take part and put them on the map and to let the government, the powers that be, know that we have women who can do these jobs. They're not just for ministry and so on. So, but maybe this is off-beating again. I was very distressed when I saw or heard of the announcement that a male, whatever he is, has been appointed the secretary of EFCC. I said, you see, there we go. A woman should be the secretary, board secretary of EFCC. If a man is chair, I believe only 2 hands, both hands together, can build a house. You can't build a house with 1 hand. So women lawyers, women forum, that's one battle we have to fight. Henceforth, are we short of women who can be in this post? I don't think so. I think we have too many, but nobody is fighting their case. Maybe I should let you ask some questions, but another thing that picks on my mind is people talk about discrimination. I'm telling you, I am chief discriminator. If you come to me with an air of discrimination, by the time I give it back to you, you know that I am the one discriminating. Nobody can discriminate against me on account of my gender or anything. They cannot, and I let them know from the start. It's true that some of us are quiet and reticent and say, oh, women shouldn't make noise. You're not making noise. You just make your point very firmly. I'm not going to take this. I'm not going to accept this. And that's it. You find they can't. If somebody comes into your conversation and you look at, they look as if they are holding you, they want to behave as if they are in charge. Oh, you have no business. You say, excuse me, did I ask you anything at all? Did I tell you to come into this conversation? You will quickly walk away. That's my own discrimination. So slowly, women, but honestly, I want to congratulate the rank and file of women lawyers that they really tried. They tried their best in the environment because the environment is not equal for all of us. But you must strive to get that confidence which the law gives you. Once you are confident and the law gives you all that, the sky is the limit. You can do anything. You can face anybody. I even remember in the old days when we joined the Women National Council of Women Society. People like Jadisola Continue, she rest in peace. When we go for a meeting with government officials, you cannot believe it is one of us, the lawyers, that these old women will call and say, Daddy, speak now. And she will look at me and say, speak now. They didn't tell us we were going to speak. Oh, yeah, lawyer, they know you know what to say. Just say something. So oftentimes we get to whatever, Dodan Barracks, whatever is the seat of government, and they look at me and say, Adebalogun, will you say something? And I'll just cover my mouth and say, but the president is here. The president of the society is here. Say, are you lawyers? You know everything. Just say something. So we have to empower ourselves. We have to prepare for those kind of opportunities. And those are the things that stand you out. People can call on you, and you have to. It's I wouldn't say it's onerous or burdensome, but this is what is expected of women. You have to make your stand. When you go and talk about activities in the NBA, I went in on purpose, not to be a secretary, but to be part of it. I used to carry some of their books, their files in the meeting. When we finish meeting, I'll just carry their files and walk after them. People like late Kule Uyero, Fola Shashemo, so many of them. And then gradually, I speak at the meeting, they say something, I just put my hand, excuse me. Sometimes they laugh, sometimes they agree, but it didn't put me off because I don't think a woman lawyer is any less a lawyer than a male lawyer. On the contrary, I think we're better than them. We have more patience to deal with problems and things. It's inborn. So I hope you are getting the gist of how
we are. Mrs. Balogun, this is really amazing because what you've done is literally answered many of the questions before we even asked them. You talked about confidence in yourself and your ability, not letting anyone put you down. Work-life balance, you've touched on that, when the children came along and how you were a hands-on mom while still pursuing your professional goals. Gender parity. I hope, of course, I know that Prof is here and the EXCO of the Women's Forum of the Nigerian Bar Association. We have to keep an eye on those appointments and ensure that there is gender parity in the way that government makes these appointments. And for me, what really resonates above it all is the motivation for all that you have achieved. You weren't motivated by personal ambition. It was a motivation to serve. Motivation to serve. Not about money, not about titles, but in pursuing service to humanity. All of that followed. I mean, Probin Road is not exactly cheap. So it's, the top address in Nigeria. But that's not the driver. So if we learn nothing else from this inspiring Amazon, it's that if we pursue our career with the right objective, everything else will follow. Mrs. Balogun, I really thank you for this
introduction.
My speaker was about to go off, but thank you so much for the frank and extensive response. I have another question in relation to the Nigerian Bar Association. You have been described as a woman.
Sorry, 1 minute. Leonard Silk.
Yes.
Sorry, we have with us Chief Mrs. Folake Solanke. She will be leaving us in a few minutes. And if you don't mind, she would just like to say a word or two to everyone here, especially to congratulate our legal advisor of today. Please, could you please allow her to speak for a few minutes?
Absolutely. It will be a privilege to hear
Thank you
from
very
our
much.
first female Silk, the giant on whose shoulders we stand, and we are delighted to have her intervention. Mrs.
Thank you very much.
Solanke, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, first amongst equals, our mama in the law. Please proceed. Thank you.
Mrs. Solanke. She's in Ibadan. Maybe she's having connectivity issues because she actually did say that she was going to be leaving in a few minutes.
She's on.
So I think she's having some connectivity issues. If you don't mind, once she comes on, we'll allow her to speak. Please proceed with your questioning. I think she's having problems with her.
I beg your pardon?
Sorry, ma. You've gone off, ma.
I've gone off. Oh, gone off.
You're on now, ma. Please proceed. We're waiting eagerly to hear from you.
If you don't mind, can you all hear her now? I think we've lost connection, but she's willing to speak from the telephone. I don't know if you can all listen to her. You can go on, ma.
On the telephone?
We would like you to speak on the webinar itself, but we don't seem, I think we've lost your connection. If you can log back on, and then we'll give you the audience at that time.
Well, I did tell the organizers that I will be leaving at 11.
Okay, you can go proceed now.
I've come because of my learned friend, Hirat Balogun, an amazing Amazon. And I wanted to speak for about 5 minutes, but I don't know what's going on now. I made it possible for me to come because of Hirat, one of the most distinguished.
It appears we've lost that connection. Professor Bambusi?
Yes, Boma.
It appears we've lost the connection with Mrs. Solanke SAN.
I think we can proceed so that.
And then if she's able to come back in, we'll just.
She's back on, please. Can you listen to her now?
Excellent.
It's a difficult situation for me because I don't
know
whether anybody's hearing me. I'm just talking to a blank screen.
Okay, SAN, we can hear you. Please proceed. We can hear you very clearly.
All right. Whatever Harriet tells you, I concur. I fully support everything that she's going to tell you or has told you. Our profession is in a very difficult situation. The times are perilous. We all know what we confront in this country. Hirat is one of the brightest stars in the legal firmament of Nigeria. So you have taken a very good decision to bring her here as an icon. That's exactly what she is. The word icon has been overused, but in her own case, she really is a legal Amazon and a legal amazing Amazon. We who are the older generation have preserved this profession for you, the young people. I challenge you, I urge you to make sure that the learned juniors do the same to hand over this profession to their own children. And some of the traditions and ethics which have brought this profession to the state that is in, we must not abandon them. The legal profession is the only salvation for this nation. And my learned friend, Hirat, is one of the most respectable lawyers in Nigeria. All the adjectives that you have used to describe her, I concur. I told the organizers that I could only spend the first hour. Well, I'm happy that at least I've had the opportunity to say something, even though I cannot see myself on the screen. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you, ma'am.
I was going to salute Shola of Channels.
Thank you, ma'am.
Subjected me to a very rigorous interview some time ago. Please convey my greetings to John Momo.
Will do, ma'am.
And also, I was going to salute my learned daughter, Folashade Ali.
Thank you, ma'am.
I do so now.
Thank you, ma'am.
And Oma, my learned friend of the Souk, and Al-Hawrat from Kano.
Yes, ma'am.
I greet you all.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
I
ma'am.
just want to appeal to you.
Thank you, ma.
Courtesy is one of the pillars of our profession. And when you see juniors misbehaving, you have a right to call them aside and tell them how to behave. I was saying this at the AGM of the Ibadan branch only last Saturday, that I've received reports that some juniors sit at the bar when their seniors are standing. And I told them that at my age, 89 years old, if Professor Onwapweze or Professor Kasumo were to come into a room, I would stand up for them to sit.
So you cannot compromise the issue of courtesy, call it anything you want, respect. Juniors must be taught to respect their seniors so that their own juniors will respect them in the future. So they're not really doing it for us. They're doing it for themselves because it's the profession that they live that the next generation will inherit. And I just want to say that I'm brokenhearted by the situation in our country, really brokenhearted, because the profession that I see now is very different from the one that I joined in 1963, like Hirat. At that time, there was no whisper or allegation or suggestion of corruption. You went to court, you presented your case, and you were sure that the judge will give judgment on the law and the facts. But now, no one knows what's going on behind the screen. And I would just say that we can get rid of corruption easily. And people say, wow. I say that if every one of us is corruption free, either on the bench or on the bar, at the bar, then the whole profession will be corruption.
Thank you.
May God help all of us to be corruption-free.
Thank you very much.
Hirat, thank you very much for coming to inspire them. They have chosen an excellent person to come and inspire them. Whatever you tell them, I respectfully concur. So you have a very wonderful day. Thank you very much for the opportunity. May God bless and heal Nigeria. And I have just end that every lawyer has a voice. Every branch has a voice. And I told my learned son, when he visited me at home, okay. Speak up. What's going on in this country? Okay. Whether at the forum, at the branch, or in your own experience. I have a wonderful session. God bless you.
Thank you very much.
To see you, I'm happy to listen to you. You're one of my greatest stars. Keep shining. Thank you very much. I wish you all success, both in life and in law.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
We are most grateful, Chief Mrs. Folake Solanke, SAN, our distinguished first female advocate of Nigeria, and the giant on whose shoulders we are grateful and privileged to stand. We hear you clearly. We will Sorosoke, I hope I say that correctly. And we're delighted that you could join us. And we wish you well with the rest of the day as you move on to other commitments. Certainly, we align ourselves with your submissions on Mrs. Hirat Adebalogun's sterling qualities. I have first-hand knowledge, and we are indeed privileged to have this icon as our inspiring Amazon for today. Mrs. Balogun, I will go on to my next question, which is to do with the Nigerian Bar Association. You were the first female General Secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association. And this achievement came in an era where we didn't have many women in leadership positions in Nigeria, irrespective of their capabilities. How were you able to break the glass ceiling, as in becoming firstly the Attorney General of Lagos State and also the General Secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association, and to attain such distinguished positions? And also, before I round up on that question, I'd like you to address the fact that recently, many lawyers, especially the junior lawyers, have come to see the Nigerian Bar Association as a distant body that has no direct effect on their professional practice, that's perhaps only active during conferences and elections. What do you think is responsible for this disconnect? And how do you think we can make the association more relevant to practitioners of today? Thank you, Ms. Balogun.
Let me start with the NBA first, even though it was your last question. NBA is an association for practicing lawyers. Once you are called to the bar, you are deemed to be an automatic member, and you start paying your subscription and attending meetings. It's that call to the bar certificate that gives you that entry. You don't need anything else. But many people don't understand that we are stronger as a group than trying to do your own thing. It's not possible. You've joined an association, whether you like it or not, you're a member, so you have to behave as a member of that association. Two, and a very important lesson, is that NBA, to me, and I think to quite a few people, is a mini Nigeria. It is a mini Nigeria. If we get things right in NBA, Nigeria will be the best country in the whole world, because we will have approached everything with planning, organization, and the ability to make it happen by discussion. People will bring different ideas. We'll discuss, we'll see what is best for the association. And that's how a country should be run. We must have a leader. We must have a sub-leader. Leader, president, sub-leader, the secretary. The secretary will be the one to coordinate, to make points that should be discussed. What is the problem? What do we want to achieve? Then the president will use his big power. It may be senior, it may not be, but he will use his organizational power to make sure these things are taken step by step. It is not when we had a crisis of strike that we start running around to see what can we do, how can we open. We should have found out why should court workers, judicial workers belong to just any labor organization. We're all on a different level. We're doing different things for the nation. So that is something NBA should look into. Then all of us have ideas. We go to the meetings. There must be a chance for everybody to air their views. If the meeting is getting too long, we want to write it down and send it to the president or the secretary, put it on the agenda. We must discuss it. We must discuss it. It's like people say, oh, how did you go into IBA? I used to go to the meeting, I listen to all sorts of things. And I hardly see any women, even European foreign women in the meetings. Just a few, one or two, and they're not saying much. They just go out after a few minutes, have coffee, come back. And I'm just sitting there and thinking, these people, they're not even speaking as if there are two genders. They're speaking as if there's only men. So I said, okay, how do you form a committee to take care of gender? So I got friendly with one of the men. I said, yeah, let's go. We have to have a committee on gender issues. That is how we found it. I used to go into bush in England. I call it bush because you have to take a train 2 hours to get to the venue of meeting. They never had the meeting in London, but I would be there. Freezing, but I'll be there. They say that my name is on the docket that I was there. So on and so on and so forth. And they say, how can you want to form another committee? Yes. Are you going to fund it? No. Fund it like you fund the others. But put down the starting points. We did. And then we pressed it. So gradually, and a woman was the administrator of IBA, and yet they weren't doing anything, to honor women or to assist women. So she wasn't a lawyer, of course, but at least, it's not that they didn't see any woman around. So that's how it all started. You must get in there. In fact, when they first mentioned Women's Forum, I said, why? You want to do your own thing? No, we will do it inside that MBA. But God knows best. It looks, this is working for us in this time. That's fine. But you must not ostracize yourself from the mainstream. If you come to the meeting, you see the agenda, and you tell the women, look, this one is not good. You do your background homework and say, when we get to the meeting, we're not going to vote for this. By the time you do it 3 times, they know that, if these women don't vote too, it's not going in. That is how you change. You must have a superior agenda and you must promote it. As I said, you are an automatic member like everybody else. Becoming secretary, I stood the election. 6 of us were on the ballot for the first time. And eventually, 3 of us stood at the time of election. And just before voting started, one left, it remained 2 of us. The one who left said, oh, I think it's good if a woman wants to be secretary, and nobody is greater than the association, so I'm stepping down. The second man said, no, he's not stepping down. We had the election, he lost. That's it. So at that time, you only serve for a year, according to the rules. So second year, I put in again, and I was returned unopposed. Nobody, I suppose they were happy with what I was. But what I did, I know, was to take the MBA around people. My first conference was held in Benin. And the chairman, Benin branch, was so much against me. You're coming here, you're going to do this. You think you can hold conference here? I didn't take any notice. He's not coming to declare it open. He's only a member of the executive, just as I am. So we had a successful conference. The governor was so happy that there's a thing called MBA, and they've done this, they've done that, they've done. He gave them a building immediately for their birth center. I think they're still using it till today. We're talking about 82, 83. My second conference was held in Owerri. Doesn't that surprise you? But we went to Owerri. I don't have any, well, I had 1 or 2 friends there, but it's not like I come from there or anywhere near, but we went to Owerri, this organization. And everybody enjoyed it. So that's how we started. And in these 2 instances, my first president lived in Abeokuta. So he just comes to Lagos once in a while. We talk about what's on the table and discuss it's off. The second one lived in Enugu. Same thing. So you were literally holding the forte all the time. So you have to have your wits about you, what is good for everybody, and inclusive governance. You must insist. When they want to appoint 3 or 4 members to do something, say, we must have at least 1 woman, because you look at the number of those of us who are lawyers and say, okay, try to do a ratio or something. So, but sitting at home or going to the meeting, just signing your name and not saying anything is not it. You must include yourself by bringing up your own ideas. You see what they've done. If it's good, you say so. If it's not, you say so. Or they want to go on a visit to the CJ of the state or whatever. I can't come with you, Mr. President, but these are my suggestions. If they come back with a report and they don't mention anything about what you suggested, you must be bold enough to speak about it at the meeting. You have to. So eventually they say, oh, if you don't, Boma is a nuisance, so she will say something. Then they start to accept that you are forced to be reckoned with. Why should they exclude you? We all got there by the same qualification. So, that is for MBA. And I think once you can do that, other things follow automatically. And, you influence the court. When you go inside the court, you see the way the court clerks are behaving. You let them know who is in charge. Yes, they're supposed to be answering to the judge or whoever, magistrate, but they are to serve the lawyers. You let them know that. They're not menial servants or anything like that, but they must answer to you. And you treat them formally, no jokes. Then they know who is who. I used to hear complaints that some court clerks say, you can't just say, court clerk, say, but what is their office? Is that not their office? So this, these are, you have to get in there yourself and make it what you want it to be. They're complaining about the leaders right now. Just complaining is not going to give us anything. You have to do something. You have to learn to do something, call some youngsters together and say, look, what do you think of this? Let us write something, let us have a meeting, peaceful. Let us give them an invitation, ask them to come and listen to us, or you want to come and see them. You are the architect of your own misfortune. That's the way I look at it. You are the architect of your own misfortune. You go on like that, you let them take everything away from you. That's it, no country. So, everything is connected to this confidence and integrity. Once they know, she's not going to listen. She will keep repeating, right from the court. I remember the late Sadat Ogunbademola, may he rest in peace. There was no court of appeal, we had Supreme Court from High Court. I would just stand up, read what I've written down, sit down. The other counsel, yes, Mr. Balogun, again, I've said the same thing. On the third occasion, he said, but you said that before. I said, I'm sorry, sir. That is the way I see it. I can't change it. That's it. And I've had to go to court to try and right some wrongs, not because it's my own personal hurt or anything. Like when they wanted to give away the law school, I took them to the court before we got an injunction to stop it. I heard they were going to build a hotel inside the court, inside the law school compound. Not a hostel, a hotel, a Chinese company. Same thing, I went to court. If you see the abuse in the counter affidavit, you will just be laughing your head off till the cows come home. I'm a busybody, nosy packer. So the judge said, okay, what do you want her to be busybody about, if not for the profession? Should she go and do nosy packer for the butchers, or who? So I'm sorry. No local standard. What's it got to do with me? Oh, so where does she belong if she has no local standard in a matter that concerns the profession of young people yet to come to the bar? So we got the order, no problem. Right now, all of you out there, you know how the Court of Appeal is so behind on the cases. The congestion is just unimaginable for a Court of Appeal. One of the things is accommodation. When they ran to Abuja without making any provision, they took everything lock, stock, and barrel. But you still have to have a Court of Appeal in Lagos. The biggest one it should be. But right now, it doesn't stand up to the one in Ibadan or in some other states because it's so small. So that one is our business as lawyers. Lagos State, give them land to build another division of the court. It's not for you, it's for the profession and for the society. So those are the ways you need to make your mark. It's not just, yeah, you must make money because you have to pay your rent. If you're a man, you have to pay school fees and bring the food money. And women, yes, you have to be nice and tidy when you go out, get your thugs together, but you don't need millions and millions and millions. In any case, some of us, the way we dress, it's more like decoration. So it's quite easy. You set your mind to it, you can do so much for the society. And then the benefits come in their own way, even if it's just the peace of mind or the happiness that it gives you. It's enough benefit. I don't know other people's citation, but when my citation for the National Honor said, for services to the legal profession, I sat back and I said, what? Did I serve that much? I can't imagine. I was just practicing. But somebody said it. And it's there in black and white. So, Boma, well done. My
Very,
fellow.
very well done. Balogun, this so resonates with me. And I hope that all the young lawyers here are listening. Don't walk away, engage. The Nigerian Bar Association belongs to us all. We are part of this profession. If there's anything you do not like, speak up and engage. It resonates. And all through all of this, it is about being confident in yourself and speaking up. If someone says you're a nosy packer, that's all right. It means you're doing the right thing. We're following footsteps that, yes, have left golden imprints in the sand. So you'd be proud to be called a nosy packer. My final question before I hand over to Shola Sholaye is on the prestigious rank of the Senior Advocate of Nigeria. We have less than 5% of women practitioners. Well, not quite. Of those who have been conferred or elevated to that rank, less than 5% are women. I checked this with BOSAN, and we're currently 24 ever, starting with Leonard Senior, Mrs. Folake Sholanke, Chief Mrs. Folake Sholanke, SAN. Now, there's no question that you would have been elevated if you had chosen to go down this path, because your career and your achievements speak for themselves, and you've been an advocate par excellence. Could you tell us in the round why there are so few women in this rank, and also what, from your perspective, has been your biggest career achievement? So I'm combining two questions because of paucity of time. Why are there so few men elevated to this rank? And what, in your judgment, has been your biggest career achievement? Thank you.
I think the disadvantage is why the number has been so small. I cannot really tell you why, because I've not researched into it, but I can hazard a guess. Maybe the women are not able to follow the rules of engagement. Maybe there are some rules there that they cannot comply with, so they don't bother to apply. Maybe that is the difficulty. I don't know, because I've not studied the rules, how you apply and what they expect and so on. Because I hear some little snips from people who have applied, mostly men, and they will say, oh, they will say some ridiculous thing. This time, they didn't take me again, oh, Mrs. B, and I'll say, what did you do? What didn't you do? They came to look at my library. They saw my office, and they said, oh, yes, I have 6 toilets, but I should have named gents and ladies separately. I said, yeah. Well, if that's why they failed you, I'm sorry, next time they're coming, make sure you. So, it's a joke. It must be because some people, not enough women, are able to comply with the rules of engagement. I'm only guessing. I wouldn't really know. I think it would be nice to take a sample from women who have actually applied once or twice, and they've not been acceptable. Because I know that the few women that I know closely who are SAN, I know they're worthy of the rank, because I know how, yes, I know how hard they've worked. I know how undivided they've been to the profession. Like yourself, Uma, like Ms. Adekoya, but I would say they're a bit of old school. So maybe that's how they were able to swing through with their qualifications. But I don't really know much to say about it.
Thank you, Ma. And your biggest career achievement in your opinion?
Yes, honestly, I can't touch anything except to say to just flog them. You have an idea, you pursue it till it comes to fruition, and it's my staying power. That's all. I can't really say it in one word and say, oh, I've done this, I've achieved this. No. My achievement mostly is being able to get through to whoever is concerned, finally, at the end of the day, and they say, okay. Oh, your problem is too much. Let's do it. That's okay. At least sense of achievement, let me see. But, we become large and small. So I think it's the beneficiaries who can really speak about it and say, but how many years ago that I served government, I still find people saying, oh, that woman, if not for her, I wouldn't have a house in Lagos. And I said, which woman, what happened? But I remember clearly going to the governor and saying, look, judges cannot come and sit on the bench with application for land. Senior civil servants, doctors, and cannot come and sit on the bench waiting to see you for land. Write letter, give them allocation, I'm going to deliver them myself. And I delivered quite a few. So those are the kind of things. Years later, they're still talking about it. Well, you've done your best. That's it. So those are worthy things you can mention because you've served and you've helped people during that service. It's not just for your pockets or to make you feel big or anything. You're already there. So I hope that answers that one.
It does. It does. And I take this nugget away. And there are over 300 participants at the moment. I hope we're all hearing that. You're staying power. So you set your mind to something, stay the course until you achieve it. That's the lesson I'm taking away. I am so grateful. This is Hiram Balogun. I now hand you over to Shola Sholaye, my co-anchor, to take the next few questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bennett Silk. And thank you, Ma, for this opportunity to talk with you and ask a few questions on behalf of everyone. It's such a great privilege, and I thank you also for the deep words of wisdom that you've shared about confidence, about integrity, and about service. But Ma, I'm going to take you outside the legal profession a bit, but to a question that also concerns everybody. And I want to hear your thoughts, especially as a senior citizen, about the security situation in the country. It's one that gives a lot of people cause for worry. And we don't get the caliber of you, a person like you, every time, to talk with. And that's why I'm really eager to get your views on the security situation in the country. I know that as a senior citizen, you would be worried too, but how do you think that the country can best tackle this issue of insecurity? And also the debate on state policing, Ma, where do you stand on that?
What? Debate on? What's the last question? Debate on?
The debate on state police. Where do you stand?
Okay. It follows on, yeah. Well, security is for the government, the central government, federal government, because the security apparatus are controlled by the central government, the federal government. So until the states have more control on the security apparatus personnel, there is very little they can do. But personally, each of us, we should now know the country has changed. It's a different place, brought about by poverty, lack of employment, so many social evils. So we should all be on the watch. We should all be security conscious. In the old days, you send your children to school, they come back, you need the key for the lady next door, and say when they come back, it's open for them, let them have their lunch. They'll lock up, give back the woman the key, and be playing in the area. Nothing will happen to them till you come back. Nothing will happen to your house. Now, if you are owner of a house, you have to build a high fence, electrical fence. And I pray every day I pass these houses that I hope this electrical shocking system will not work against any of the children or owners or relatives of the owners of these houses. Because that's how it has become. We have to be alert. You see something that is not right, you speak up. You challenge them. They may be armed, they may not be, but hey, life is not worth living if your neighbor is not in good stead. If you have to be careful about your neighbor, what are you here for? So you do your best, you must speak up. Then we know that we don't have enough police. Whatever the government can do to employ more police, men and women. So in the old days, you didn't need so many because the population was very small. But now the population goes, if you know how many people enter Lagos from different ports, from what do you call it, Ikeja, Ota, Ekwe, per day, you will say it's a lie. Nowhere to go, nowhere to sleep. And they don't know anybody in the city. That is dangerous. We don't have enough people to police that. So it's an appeal. This is one of the things women can do. By the time we're not going to take off our clothes or anything, but by the time we have people in Senate and Rep, they'll be tired. They'll have to do something. So that comes to state police. Definitely, it is time to have state police. It is definitely time, because if you don't have state police, there is nobody to control. The governor is not in charge. Some people, the few policemen that are, they hire them privately. You see some people, 6 or 8 policemen are standing at their gates, ready to escort them when they go out, even on socials. There's no police for the others. So we have to stop that. We have to be less selfish. We should be our neighbors' keepers as well. We should look out for them. So that's the only suggestions you can make, but definitely the security situation needs really brushing up. It's hardly we have any security. Everybody is taking care of their own security. You have a gate man, he doesn't speak your language, he's just there. It's just for decoration. But what can you do? If the country was properly policed by security personnel, professionals, it would be a different thing. You are driving gently on the road, you suddenly hear people horn behind you. You look up, you see their private citizens like you telling you to get out of the way. Go beside you if you don't get out of the way. But if we have police, more than enough police, they wouldn't even dare to go out like that. Then the flash pass with different funny names on their registration plates, and you say, what is all this? We all own the place together. We all pay taxes. But that is one thing we can do. We can get on this matter of security and get in touch with the government, make a blitz of it, shout day and night, and whatever suggestions we all have, let them pull it together. So that's what I can suggest about that.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Another issue of national importance that I want to get your comments on, I would like to hear your views on, is the issue of constitutional amendment. It has taken front burner in recent times. Do you share the view that what Nigeria needs is a brand new constitution and not an amendment of the current one, like some people have said? And also, this issue of the financial autonomy of the judiciary, what can you suggest so that the issue can be finally laid to rest? How can we deal with it going forward?
The first one about amendment of the constitution or no amendment. Every law is useful for a time, for a while. Conditions appear and you need to change the law or to amend. Even as lawyers, we know rules of procedure and all sorts of things. There are rules protecting children before, but we know it's not enough. Child rights comes in. So it's a brand new law. It wasn't just an amendment. So if the things we want to amend, I think it takes so much time and so much funds to start all over again. It's better if something is broke, fix it. Fix it for now, because we hope we're not going to be like this forever. So I would like to say emergency. So take some emergency steps, fix the sides that are not working for us, and let's move on. Before you empanel, you start again. I know many people are now they're now shouting, it is not our constitution, it's military constitution. It's too late for that. Let's just fix it. There are some urgent places that need amendment. Let's do those ones fast and move on. Meanwhile, we can now put a ground notes to say, okay, future amendments, future constitution, and we start planning for that. But to just sit back and say, if you don't have a new constitution, nothing is going to happen. I'm sorry, that's not a good attitude. I don't go for that. So maybe if you must have a new constitution, I'll just say, well, all you need to do is to make sure this time you have women as head of state for the next 10 governments. But then we have to vote. We have to have a candidate and vote. You see my point? So it's better. Let us look at it. Amendment. There are so many suggestions as to how to do certain things. Let's take some of them on board, do the amendments and move on.
The issue of the financial autonomy of the judiciary, ma'am.
Oh, sorry. I think already some states have been having financial autonomy. It's ridiculous. There are 3 arms of government. Why is the judiciary, for me, the most important, cannot control its own revenue and like the other 2 arms? It's just like a poor relative. It's not on. There are checks and balances. If the state doesn't live up to expectation, they mess up with the revenue and so on. There are ways to stop it, to suspend them, but to say they have to go cap in hand to the governor every time they want to do something is ridiculous. Judiciary, executive should be doing that. You know, they want to buy books or something, executive can go and do that. Judiciary should just talk with the chief judge, and that's why who is chief judge is important. Who you make a chief judge is important. It's not a question of turn by turn, just push him up. The chief justice, push it up, is a new senior. No, you must have people of proven integrity, proven of administrative wherewithal, and so on. So things should work. They should be in charge of their own financial situation, definitely, because it holds so many things down. You know, everything air conditioner is not functioning, the court is not sitting, the chairs are broken down because they're waiting for their money. It's ridiculous. Don't other countries have air conditioner in their courts? So for that, definitely, they should, the ones that are not having, they should have, make sure there are 3 arms of government and they're equally endowed. It's important.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. I'm going to hand over now to my co-anchor Awa to take the final leg of the questions before we go to take questions from other people, many of who are waiting online to ask you questions, ma'am. So
I'm writing your bill. I'm writing your bill. Go on.
We don't get this opportunity all the time, ma, so let's milk it. Thank you, ma. Awa, please go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Shola. May I stand on the existing protocol? Mrs. Hayrat, thank you. It's been really an inspiring session. And thank you so much for the invaluable and extensive review. Quickly, ma, due to time constraints, if I may ask Mama, will you suggest amending our rules of professional conduct to accommodate other businesses, seeing that with the JUSUN strike and all, we've had instances where we've had so many things lawyers have been through and so many other things. Ma'am, will you suggest the amendment of the RPC to accommodate other businesses for lawyers, apart from the normal agriculture and teaching that is being allowed?
I really don't understand that question, to accommodate other businesses. No, let me land, because you're a practitioner, a legal professional, and your business is the business of the law. I had to go to court when they bounced my check for the Supreme Court to rule that law is a business. So you are already on a form of business. I don't really understand about putting agriculture or any other thing. If you need them, you can employ them, but that it should be with you in chambers. I really don't understand that. There are some professions that, yes, it's good to have your own independent one in chamber. Accountants, you can have accountants join with you. In fact, I would say part of the blessings of COVID is that it's allowed us to do so many things from home to start with, on Zoom. So many, there are lots and lots of things we never thought of doing before as legal practitioners. But because we're sitting at home, we've had time to think about doing those different things. So I think let's just even observe our rules of professional ethics first. It will be beneficial to everybody before you start throwing them outside. As I say, I don't understand what other professional, you want a lawyer to be a farmer. Nothing stops him from starting up business or farming and putting people there. So I don't understand it. I'm sorry, I'm ignorant on that one. So.
Thank you so much, Ma. And my next question would be that, seeing that so many lawyers have been coming under attacks from security operatives, the recent case being the case of the Benue State MBA chairman that had a fracas with the EFCC. Ma'am, please, in what ways will you suggest lawyers can be strengthened, considering the fact that we have been coming under attacks and harassment by security operatives?
I think the problems and not with the lawyers, with the security operatives. They're not taught how to do their work. And then, on the other hand, some of our lawyers are a little bit, how do you say, I think I better use a polite word, over assertive. When you go to somebody else's territory, they too have rules and regulations. It's like if a layman comes into the court and he starts shouting, any lawyer in the court can say, excuse me, if you don't keep quiet, I'm going to get you arrested. And then we'll call the order, take him away. This will happen. It must be done. So, but our people, they overreach. Once they're in a position, they forget themselves. So I think the temporary suggestion would be to speak to the chief executives of these security outfits, the police, tell them this is how you behave, even to an ordinary person, even before a person introduces himself as a lawyer. In the courts, when you come out of court, you see some people who have not been with policemen. For what? What's that about? So it's like you even bring the odium on yourself. You don't, you can do your job without all the hobnobbing, like exchange cigarette or exchange biscuit or something on the court steps. No, you don't do that. You know, well, if you have a case with them, you know, if you have to go to the station to talk about your clients and so on, or after court, we should have a room inside the court where we can also interview policemen. So I think it's putting in place the right atmosphere. Let people know how to do their work and to the extent of their powers and so on. And that general courtesy to everybody, not to talk of a professional who has come to do a job of work. You have to cooperate with them, because at the end of the day, defense lawyer and prosecutor, we're all after the same thing: justice. Justice for the law, justice for the accused, and justice for the victim. So we're all in the same business. We should cooperate. Why do we, annoy each other? But some of us will even bribe policemen to go and do what they should not do. So the next day now, when they turn against us, we start screaming. I'm sure you've heard of that. So we too have to put down ground rules and follow them. And, there should be some discussion between us now and then. Formal, not just somebody who sneaks up to a police station. There should be a forum for legal practitioners and police, how they do their job. If we help each other, it makes everything easy. If we are cordial with each other, it makes everything easy. Not like, you deliberately forget the file in the office or something, and the police knows the magistrate is going to give them adjournments. So you can't satisfy your clients. So that's how it starts. Little things like that. So we must have a meeting point. If they don't know, it's our place to teach them. And I can put something like that in place as MBA.
Hello, Ma. I would like to put across some of the questions that we have from some of our participants online. I have a question. I want to merge a question from Adiola Olumeyo and Wendy Kuku. Adiola says that she would like to know what can be done to champion better pay for young lawyers, especially female lawyers who are sometimes paid less than their counterparts in a firm. The issue of poor pay for lawyers certainly affects the poor perception the public has for Nigerian lawyers. I will want you to comment on that, Ma. And also, Wendy Kuku wants to know whether when you started off your career at a young age, did you at any time have to deal with issues of sexual abuse, and how did you handle it?
Pay is very important. A laborer is worthy of his hire. I presume that if the pay is really so poor that the junior is complaining, it means the senior cannot afford any more than that. But it should be a matter of dialogue. You know, we're not all equally endowed at getting briefs, briefs that generate high funds. And then also, it's a question of management again. Some of us, we don't really manage chambers properly as a business. You know, it's too loose. People should know when to expect, how they start, when to expect a raise, what they have to do to deserve a raise, and put in their best as well. It depends on the conditions between the junior and the senior. You can't really put a blanket, but it starts off by knowing the terms of engagement clearly. So if the terms are being eroded, you can always call for a dialogue with your senior and so on. And sometimes some seniors have a windfall and they employ people just to be nice, and then the windfall dries up and they can't really say, you have to go, I can't pay you anymore. And the person seems to be impervious, they don't even know what's going on around them. That this poor man is not making what he used to be. Do I have any suggestion to increase my earnings here or the seniors' earnings so I can get better? Anything they can do, and then it depends on their status, whether they're a junior partner or they're just an employee who can ask for a raise, which probably would have been spelled out in some written memorandum that they will follow. So that's, and let me tell you, personally, I don't think any lawyer, any good lawyer, ever gets his just desserts by way of fees. I am saying it personally, and I know that no matter the bill I give you, you can be sure it should be much more than that. I'm just trying to be considerate. I know how I slave over the answer. I know what I give up to give you a good service. So I'm trying to say is no matter how high you are paid, you will still complain that it's not quite commensurate with your effort if you are making that big effort. So that's, I think that should cover the question of fees. Sorry, I forgot the second part of the question.
Question on sexual harassment, if you ever experienced
sexual harassment. It's unfortunate that it's come to, I will use the word business in quotes now. I don't know what came over the population. Is it some disease or something? But from time immemorial, women have always been butts of men's jokes or pranks, and you just let them know this is, you can't, you know, don't step beyond that barrier. The way you present yourself, the way you comport yourself. Some people will say, oh, you are too strict. It's okay. Strict is an abuse. It's a nice abuse. So why do you worry about that? So you start as you intend to go on. You don't get familiar with people except they are your relations or people you've known from your youth, and you know you can estimate how they will behave. You try and keep a block. It's unfortunate, as I said, to me, it's like a disease that just came. Nigerians were not so nasty. That's the only word I can use for it before. People have always teased women, especially women who went into so-called all-male profession. You know, it's like an interloper. So they will do anything to annoy you out of it, but you are not going to be annoyed out of it. So they continue to harass you. So when they see that no, this one is not playing ball, they leave you alone. So you start as you mean to go on. You must have your own ground rules as well, particularly in the time we are now. And you teach your children any small. Look at the schoolmaster who said when the child not accused that he kissed her on the lips, he's now saying, no, it was a friendly gesture. I kissed her on the cheek. What is the difference, please? If you want to praise a child, you normally pat them on the shoulder and say, well done, well done. You don't touch them any more than that. Or you say, give me a handshake. Because of COVID, you don't give handshake. But he's admitted the crime already. And he's pretending he's supposed to be defending himself. So we need to also be very cautious, teach our children how to behave, and also those of us who are working with men mostly to be very careful in a bad situation, in a bad corner. You know, it could be a meeting. There are plenty of places you can have a meeting. It doesn't have to be somebody's hotel room. Me, I can't fight too. So I don't create a fighting situation. So that's it. But it's very deplorable. And I'm sorry for my country for that. But it's like locking the gates after the bus has flown, but we must still lock the gates. We must take care of ourselves and be very smart and strict. You can't send them all to jail, you know that. So you can catch all of them anyway. Look at the actor for years been messing up with a little girl, and it's caught at last for years. Think what it's done to the child. People with their own daughters and grandchildren. It's unfortunate. It's a bad epidemic that has come. One of the prayer points we must all have to go away. So that's all I can say about that.
Thank you so much, Ma. There's a question from Oluwa Toby Abobari, who asks, what is your suggestion in handling some senior lawyers who seek to undermine junior lawyers, particularly amongst women? I think this is senior female lawyers who seek to undermine junior lawyers, particularly women. What is your suggestion in handling issues like that?
We will gang up on the person. We'll go and meet the person in the enclave, wherever, and deal with them and tell that person, look, if you don't watch out, this is what we're going to do to you. You cannot do that. You cannot do it. You are supposed to encourage the people behind you, not to discourage them, not to talk of punish them for what. We must face them, not just keep quiet. It's like when I was telling Folashade, she will get what she wants eventually. But first of all, I said, Folashade, Wahala is too much, leave me alone. But as she said, I always sit at the back and watch him. If somebody is being victimized or abused or something, I say, don't go there. What is it? Look at the person to you now. You are more experienced. Why are you doing that? So let's have the person, the identity. We will have a special group within women's MBA that will go and deal with the person, teach them a lesson. That's all we can do to eradicate such behavior. You can't just let the person deal with it, because obviously that person cannot deal with it alone. So you let the people see the folly of their action, see the folly of their ways, and then most people, they understand when you talk to them with patience and feeling, they understand and it changes. So that's what I would do. I won't just keep quiet and say, oh, that woman is too terrible. Bring it to the forum. Let's deal with the person. That's all. They probably don't know that they're that bad. Some people are like that. They probably don't know. They think they are, the best shots in the world. But then you tell them it's not like that. If people behind you, older than you, had done that with you, where would you be? So that's another assignment. That's what I would suggest. We need it.
All right, Ma, I'll take the final question before we round up because we've overshot our time. It's there's a comment from Mrs. Twain Bashram, who is talking about the issue of remuneration. She says it's important to make juniors understand that they should be earners, they should be fee earners and pull their weight in the practice. You cannot be lazy or unproductive and expect that your pay will not reflect what you put into the practice. I know senior lawyers appreciate this, appreciate hard work. And this is buttressing what you said earlier, Ma. But there's someone who wants to know what your advice is for the younger generation of young lawyers.
Somebody wants to be known. I don't understand.
Hold on. There's someone who wants to know, okay, the issue of poor pay. Yeah. Hold on, Ma. I can't find the question anymore. 1 minute, Ma.
Yes, you said that they should be fee earners or something. And
for young lawyers.
That's why, that's why I started by saying it depends on the conditions of engagement.
Yes,
when the person is
to know, Ma, what steps a young female lawyer seeking to expand her area of practice in law can take to achieve this purpose? That's Grace Ecom, yes. What steps can a young female lawyer seeking to expand her area of practice take to achieve this purpose?
Education, nothing. You sit down and educate yourself on new areas. Every single area comes to play from time to time. It's like some of you who went into arbitration. You do more arbitration now than law. You're doing more arbitration than court work. A lot of people who have even become SAN, they're doing more arbitration. You don't see them in the court showing leadership to young lawyers. That's always my complaint. You don't see them in the court exhibiting and showing leadership to young lawyers. They're off somewhere doing 20 million arbitration. So empower yourself. Arbitration is part of the defense mechanism in dispute resolution. So empower yourself. You get a new line. You let your the senior know that you know about this. So, because he may even refuse briefs on account of the fact that he may say, oh, I won't have time to do the research. But you've been studying it. You've been studying that particular thing. So you let the person know that I'm doing private lesson tutorial on this. So we can, at the beginning, I think mostly I register so many companies. I think if all of them left me with the one share, you have to have at least 2 subscribers, the owner and the, so I will subscribe for 1 share. If I was left with that 1 share, I should be a trillionaire from the proceeds, because I did so many. But now, when was the last time I registered any company? They do it in the office, but not me personally. So that's how it goes. You can empower yourself, improve on your credentials. Don't make any secret about it. You're not spending your employer's time. If you have a case and the question comes up and you say, we don't know so much about this, so you can go and read on it. There's so many courses you can do. You can look at Prof. If you call Prof and say, Madam, please, can you help me on this topic? By all means, they're too proud. Even we really like the new Deputy VC. She is so versatile. She will have to help you before you even know she's taught you anything. Very natural. So it's natural, and you have to continue to learn till you stop work. You can never stop learning anyway. So if you are learning a new thing, all the better for you. So that's what I would just recommend. Empower yourself and let your senior know that you have this additional talent, and that you really prefer this environment of people around you. You don't want to go and open any office. You don't want to compete anything. I just want to be here and enjoy what I'm doing, but get some funds out of it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what I would suggest.
Thank you very much, Ma. We're going to take your final comments, Ma. I don't know if there's anything we've not asked you that you just want to leave us with your parting words. But I'm going to preface it with this comment from one of your mentees, Philomena Agbeyegbe, who says that you take every lady, east, west, or north as your child, and you teach them what you think they should be doing in the law. She gives herself as a good example of somebody you encourage to do the NCA exams in Toronto. And she says, how do you do this? So please answer this question, Ma, and give us your final comments.
I think it's very important to commit to every relationship. Unfortunately, well, maybe it's fortunately for me, I didn't go to secondary school here. So I don't have any old girls link that are my friends. So I had to go out and make friends by myself, whether young or old. And when I myself decided to have a mentor, I don't think they were calling them mentor at that time. In fact, they used to make fun of us and say, what do you see in that old woman? Why are you following that old woman? I said, old woman, she's the same age as my mother, so whatever my mother can teach me, I'm sure that's what she'll teach me. So it's very important to actually attach yourself to somebody who's a little bit older and wiser. And, young people always think old people are stupid, but actually, old people think they're foolish. Young people are foolish by not trying to follow precedents or advice. In the end, it comes out. Philomena is a wonderful success story for me. When her husband suddenly woke up and said, Philo, you are going to Canada. All these open school, closed school every day. I don't want my children to be educated here. Carry your bag, take them to school. She was just getting into practice, really making it on her own. I think she used to do a lot of criminal cases. So she came and she said, Mommy, hey, my finish, I'm finished. No life again. I won't do practice. I said, practice what? Told me the story. I said, if you don't pack your bag, I'll come and throw them outside your house. Go now. Do what your husband says you should do. How old are you? When you say, Jack, children will be over. And you still have your profession. When she first got there, I want to go and do part-time business. So, wait. Today, to the glory of God, our children have done so marvelously well. One has been second degree. The one went to Yale, sports, educational, everything. Bam. These children, they used to sit on my knees and she said, don't ruffle my and grandma's dress. And I said, leave them, they're children. They don't know time. So because you committed and you just listen to advice, calm down. We're not always right, but sometimes, you must have faith that this person, they're making sense. if your children succeed, that's success for you too. So that's the beautiful story of Philo. In fact, she told me about this thing first. I've seen a flyer. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. Well, there you are. So, but it's very, very important to try and show the juniors the way to go. Try and help people. If they take your advice, fine. If they don't, you're happy you've done your best. Because I've tried to take mentors myself, to say, come, let's go and they don't come. Somebody will say, don't go there, she's too hard. She's too strict, you can't stay there, you can't do it. It's okay. But I will still continue to try. And I think that is one good thing we should all do, draw people near, show them another side, two sides to a coin. Who knows, it might benefit them. And then you feel happy. Say, oh, that's my girl, that kind of thing. That's it.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for answering all our questions. There are a lot of questions online that we cannot see. And
I'm sure you know some of the answers. You're just teasing me. You know some of the answers.
Some people are even saying that we'll pass on the questions that we couldn't ask to you. And so we'll be sure to do that, Ma. We know that you will oblige us. Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm going to
pack them, and I will send my bill. No wahala. Okay.
Thank you so much.
It's a deal.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
I'm going to invite
you very much.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to invite Dr. Foluke Dada, the Advisor Advocacy Committee and immediate past second Vice President of the NBA, to thank you specially on our behalf.
Thank you very much. I hope everyone can hear me. Good morning, learned selves, seniors, colleagues at the bar, ladies and gentlemen. I want to especially thank our mother, Mrs. Irat Balogun, for this wonderful honor. Honestly, I am indeed honored to be giving this vote of thanks. I have watched you from afar, but I tell you, I follow you, ma. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. You have been the first in many things. I can't begin to say or talk about all these things, but I have been so inspired by this session. And I want to believe that others in the program would have benefited. There must be one thing or the other that you will take away from this. Let me also quickly thank our mother, Chief Mrs. Folake Sholanke, who had to leave earlier. I, on behalf of the Women Forum of the Nigerian Bar Association, I say thank you, Ma, for always honoring us with your presence. We can only do better when we have people, fellow colleagues, women, mothers who really understand the profession. We can only do well when they come out and speak to us and show us the way. Particularly, I've been so blessed with all your remarks about how we can navigate between motherhood and also being our best at the profession. I really wanted to hear that because I've heard a lot of young women complain about how to be the best at both positions that they have been. I have been so blessed, ma. Thank you so much. Also on this note, I want to specially thank our own chairperson of the Nigerian Bar Association, Professor Oluyemisi Bangboshe SAN. She is an icon too, and I really want to appreciate her for being able to steer the ship of the Women Forum since we started. It's been amazing. Let me thank the Advocacy Committee of the NBA Women Forum too. The NBA Women Forum Advocacy Committee has really been top-notch. We have done it. I was the immediate past chairperson of the committee, and now we have our able Mrs. Folashade Ali, who is doing wonderful things. We really appreciate you, the coordinator, Mrs. Ayoponle, and all the committees of the Women Forum. I know you're all here. We thank you. I want to thank our anchors. Our anchors have been wonderful. Mrs. Boma Alabi, I've watched you from afar too. One day I hope to meet you too. Thank you so much. Shola Shoyele, you've really done us proud. Thank you. You've showcased the legal profession so well. I admire you too. Thank you. Mrs. Awasani Issa, thank you so much. And let me just round up by thanking every woman, every female professional, every female lawyer that has really worked hard to ensure that we are well represented, both at the bar and also in the country at large. We can only do better. The Inspire sessions would really help us to navigate our ways in getting us our steps into the proper places that we should be. So I want to thank you, Ma, Mrs. Irad Balogun. I hope to meet you in person one day. Thank you, everybody, for your time. We really appreciate you. If I've missed anybody, please, I am so sorry, but time is not really on our side. Thank you, everyone. God bless you all. Thank you, NBA National. I must thank you for giving us the platform to operate. Thank you to the President, Olu, and Olu Apata. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Well done. Very good show. Thank you, everybody. This is a service to the profession, and you better know it. You've done very well, and God will continue to keep you well and safe, and also let the nairas and dollars roll in from time to time. You will never lack, whether in knowledge or health, and your children will trail. They will also blaze the trail that you have set for them and do well in the society. Thank you for having me. Great. Thank you. And I give you a
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ma, for coming. Thank you. We love you.
Thank you.